This like auto has me very close and I'm not. Sorry. Let's see. How do I shut that off? Happy Sunday. Facebook like changed everything. I am way too close to you guys. I don't know. Well, I'm going to apologize in advance for being so up close and personal. Let's see if I can get you set up. Happy Sunday. I am so excited for this. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jessica Nichols. I created Happy Moms over a year ago already out of a place of just connection with moms who have ever found themselves being overwhelmed, reactive, burnt out, running on E, feeling like you put yourself last. I found myself in a place where I struggled to prioritize myself, and unfortunately it flowed over into my marriage, my relationship with my children, and I found myself being at a place where I was like, this is what motherhood is. This is what I dreamed of. I was not the mom or the wife that I wanted to be. And so I deep dove into spending a year, 2 years of just taking care of me, prioritizing myself, learning how to say no. And I know that I wasn't alone in feeling those things, whether you're a mom with newborns or a mom who is an empty nester who has kids that are adults. I know that I was not alone in feeling that. And so I wanted to create this community so that we could come together and support one another, be there, inspire, hold people accountable, just be there for each other and learn, because we're not given manuals. We are not taught how to take care of ourselves and be moms in the best way possible. We are given these babies and said, yeah, good luck. And so the best thing that you could do for yourself and your children is learn how to prioritize and take care of yourself, because they are learning how to take care of themselves by watching you. And so whether you're starting this journey now or have been on your journey, my goal ultimately is to just love you and support you no matter where you are in this journey. And so my friend Jamie is going to be joining me today, and I can't wait to hear her story and hear her share her story with you. If you have an autoimmune disease, she is going to be such an incredible resource for you. She is, I'm not going to share her story. She is going to introduce herself and share her story. But let me, without further ado, let me see if I can. Okay, I am going to send invite. I'm inviting Jamie to join. This is being recorded. It's live right now, but as soon as we're done, I'm going to upload it to YouTube. There she is. This
Hi.
has me so close, and I hate it, and I don't know how to adjust it. I'm trying back up here. Oh my goodness. First, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me. You're such an inspiration to myself, and I know just by the feedback after creating this event, I was at a car show with my son this weekend, and a friend came up and said, I'm so excited for this that you're hosting tomorrow. I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I can't wait to hear her story because I'm struggling myself. I had another friend reach out to me and say, can you please record this, because I can't make it live, but I need to hear her story. And so there's a need for this. There's a need for your advocacy. There's a need for you to share your story, because people are suffering, moms specifically. And so I'm excited for them to hear from you. So would you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, where you're from, just a little bit about you.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm excited to be on your platform. I just love and adore you and everything that you're doing. Like Jessica said, I'm Jamie. I live in Southern California. I've been here my entire life. I am a mama of two. I have a 12-year-old and my son just turned 15. I've been married to my husband for 17 years, together for 20. And yeah, we live a beautiful life out here in California.
That's awesome. So I want to dive right in with you, if you don't mind.
Of course not.
Will you take us back to the beginning, kind of what your symptoms were, where this all started? What were you experiencing when this journey started?
I would say the biggest symptom that I really, really suffered from were GI issues. I would suffer, and I still do suffer from extreme bloat. I could only eat certain foods. I would have allergic reactions to it. If I were to even drink alcohol, I would get an immediate headache. And as I got older, my symptoms got a lot worse. I would also notice that I would be in the sun and I would get super blotchy red. My extremities started getting swollen, not only in the sun, but just in general. And it wasn't anything specific that would trigger these things, so I didn't know what to say to the doctors so they can help me out. I would suffer from extreme like pain. I've always been somebody who's into workouts, so when I would suffer from some sort of an injury, started noticing that my injuries would take really, really long, if not would never really heal. Like the pain is still there. Joint pain, brain fog. I would have night sweats. I would started losing my hair, which is really bad. I started, and I would notice it during like my hormonal phases throughout the month. So then I started noticing, gosh, are these symptoms occurring more often when my hormones start to fluctuate through the month? I would have extremely bad periods, and so bad I ended up getting a hysterectomy in 2017, and that's where they identified I had endometriosis, and endometriosis is also an autoimmune disease. So at that moment, nobody really ever shared with me. I didn't really know to dive into it. I just knew that I was not living the quality of life I wanted to live. With the life I led, super healthy. I don't eat any processed food. You know, like I said, I work out and I live a really healthy lifestyle. So the extreme fatigue I was feeling all the time, and not just having the energy just to be there and show up for my friends and family was extremely hard on me. And so I knew something was going on. And my first bout with it was I went to a dermatologist because I started getting these rashes. So the dermatologist took a sample off my tissue to take it to the lab. And that's where they said, well, something, I don't know what it is, something is off. You have a couple checkpoints for an autoimmune disease, but we don't really know which direction to go in. That was probably the first part, and then my legs would get swollen and the pain would be so bad in my stomach. I have countless ER trips and that I would end up in. So I just never had real answers from a private primary. I would go to a gastro doctor. The gastro doctor still could not figure out anything that was going on with me. So that's kind of how it all started. And I really, really summed it up with, I think what most moms do when they're not feeling well is I'm just a tired mom, a tired mom. My kids are in sports, very active. I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I am like nonstop with them. So, and I just was like, I'm just tired. You know, I'm getting older. I'm tired. I don't know what's going on. And that's kind of how it started.
Can you tell us so how long has this been going on? And um, was there anything that you felt like all of a sudden the symptoms just started like compacting and happening more and more?
This has been going on for well over a decade. So I was diagnosed with my autoimmune diseases 2 years ago this month. Can't believe it's been 2 years, but 2 years ago this month. I've known you, Jessica, for 2 years. And so what happened is that so for a whole decade, the symptoms would get worse and worse. You know, so my oldest is 15. So it was, you know, after I started having babies, the symptoms became way worse. I would get pregnant and my symptoms would be a little worse and they would get better, but then worse. So the end result was that took me into a rheumatologist. And what this happens a lot with autoimmune disease is that what I've learned through me diving into everything is that stress, elemental factors, all of these things combined will bring out the autoimmune disease. So in my case, in a lot of cases, people are predisposed. So I'm predisposed, have a predisposition to lupus, Raynauds, um, autoimmune disease as well, and a few other things. So it was kind of just like cancer cells. Like we all have cancer cells that are idle in our body, and if you just have the perfect disaster recipe, that those cancer cells will come alive. So that's kind of what happened to me. So in 2 years ago, My husband had major back surgery. My mother-in-law was passing from cancer, and I had to take it all on my own. It was like the super, super, super busy time of my life at this moment. And my kids had never lost anybody super close to them. And my mother-in-law was the most amazing grandma to my children. So the stress of having to knowing that I was going to have to take this on myself, and my husband could not even walk. He was in the hospital for over a week, and he was going to be bedridden, and I was to do everything. So I was literally getting my nails done, and my nail tech guy said, something's wrong, your nail bed's really, really soft. And I thought, you're just using something that I'm allergic to, and I blamed it on the nail tech guy. I left, and my dips that I would get started falling off, and I went back, and he's like, no, you're allergic to something. And I literally said to him, no, you're changing something. Something's not right here. And it's not me, it's you. So I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, okay, fine. I took my nails off. I'm sitting in the hospital with my husband, and my thumbnail literally pulled off my finger. My nails started falling off my nail beds. And they were extremely swollen, extremely painful. I didn't know what was going on. So thankfully, my husband works in rare disease. So he was able to get me into a rheumatologist ASAP. Usually those appointments are like 6 months. And so I was in within 2 weeks. She saw the pictures and she knew something was wrong. So that's what brought me to the rheumatologist. And that's when the rheumatologist ran all my numbers and said, you have lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and Raynauds syndrome, and you don't. And also, I have vasculitis, where I'm easy susceptible to getting blood clots, which is all incohesive with lupus. So she said, not only do you just have lupus, like you are full blown, your numbers are off the charts. This is really bad. So I did not want to take any medication. So I said to her, well, give me 6 months to treat this holistically. And I did everything in my power to detox my body. I had breast implants. Made an appointment, had my breast implants removed. That surgery actually brought trauma to my body, which any surgery will bring trauma to your body. And when that happened, my hair dramatically fell out, and I actually got a lot worse. And so 6 months later, she says it's time to treat it. Your immune system is literally completely gone, attacking itself. So that's when I knew I had to go the Western route, because I also see, we can get into it in a little bit, a functional doctor as well. And that was the start of the journey of the meds, that I'm still not at the point where I'm in a relief state yet.
Okay. All right. I'm like jotting notes 100 miles an hour here because so much that you're saying, I want to ask. Can you explain to us what lupus is, what Raynaud's is, and what rheumatoid arthritis is for those who don't know?
Yes. So lupus is a disease where your immune system attacks itself. So basically, your body's working against you. So so what they do in that case, now that I'm on meds, they have what their number one call is they put you on an immunosuppressant drug. So now I don't have an immune system. Now they have me on a drug that completely suppresses my immune system down. So wiped out. So I'm totally anxiety over. When I get sick, this last flu that's going around, my family had it for maybe 10 days. I had it for 8 weeks, and it was
Oh,
like on my deathbed. It was horrible, but so I had to show up for my family. So I did what I could do, but it was really hard. Raynaud's syndrome is when your blood vessels, you lose your blood flow to your extremities. So your fingers and your toes, when I walk into a grocery store, my hands will turn totally white, totally purple. Then they'll come back red. They get numb. They're extremely sore. They hurt. It takes at least 20 to 45 minutes out of that position for me to start having my feelings back in my fingers. My toes aren't so bad if I'm wearing shoes and socks. And thankfully, I do live in an area where it's sunny, it's warmer climate. So, like, I couldn't live back east by any means.
um,
So, and then rheumatoid arthritis is inflammation of your joints, so inflammation in your body. And that was the biggest. That was like, okay, my gosh, I'm not going crazy. This is why my body isn't healing in the way it should, and all this inflammation that's going on. That was another thing that said, okay, Jamie, you need to take the route of going into the Western medicine for now, until you get things under control, because extreme inflammation in your body when your body's in an inflammation state, it's your body's way of protecting itself. So it's protecting, like when you get a broken wrist, your wrist will immediately inflame because your body's protecting that joint or that
Right.
extremity. But when your body's in extreme inflammation state for an extreme amount of time, that's when like people get cancer and all these other diseases that come up because your body's starting to fail on you.
Right. What can you talk a little bit just about the mental piece that goes with, so you're a very fit, very healthy, putting in the work to live a healthy lifestyle, still and dealing with these where you're not, the quality of life is not there. You want to your body, you know how to take care of your body. So I see you when you say I want to do this for 6 months holistically. um what was that like mentally coming to terms with, okay, maybe I do need to, allow Western medicine to come in and do some for, like, utilize that. There was a question, and anybody who's on this or watching this, please feel free to comment questions. Jamie is in our group, so she will be, long after this live is over, will be able
Absolutely.
to answer, and support you and connect with her and ask those questions. But somebody actually reached out to me and said, they feel like there's like an all or nothing, like the doctor's not listening to the
Hmm.
things that she's saying, so she wants to go the holistic, really really researching and trying to do what's best for her body. But like you just said, there is a piece that maybe we do need the Western medicine. What was it like for you mentally, and how did you decide, like, okay, now's the time? And even go a little farther as to, you still balance that today?
So making the choice to go on the Western route was extremely difficult for me. And because my husband is in the business, he put it to me in a way of, your body is failing you. And then it got into, it's so inflamed, you have a possibility of getting cancer. And then I did a genetic testing. So I would totally suggest anybody who has, or anybody in general, genetic testing is so fascinating. And I do have a genetic predisposition to, not to breast cancer, but other cancers. So I found that out. So keeping that inflammation, my body in such an inflammation state for so long, and me not being able to get it down, was like, okay, I don't want to get cancer. I need to fix this now. It was a really, really hard decision because putting more chemicals in my body really, really scared me. So I knew that I was going to take the route once I made the decision. And on top of what I forgot to express is that the depression that comes with the inflammation, because when you have inflammation in the brain, which creates depression, was super hard. It's super hard to show up for anybody, let alone myself, when you're in that such depressed state. So I made the decision to do it, and started off, like, there aren't very many drugs out there, by the way, for lupus, maybe six. And I've tried all six. And I'm seeing my doctor in 2 weeks. So sorry, I'm kind of all over the place because there's so much to talk about here. So I made the decision when I was diagnosed to completely dive in and find out every little piece about it I can. I didn't only search the web, I also searched all of social media platforms. And what was really interesting to me is that I didn't find very much out there about lupus specifically. I mean, isn't even that much out there about autoimmune in general. So that's when I decided, and we could talk about that a little bit in the future as well, is that I decided to create my own page and start educating others on what you can do to help yourself out naturally, because that is my end result, is to be completely removed to all of these drugs and be able to live a life fully naturally. And some of the things I do to keep in place of that is, so like when other people like the one that you're just talking about, saying she goes to the doctor and you just kind of feel unheard, and it's just like, well, this is all we have for you. And I'm like, no, no, you don't. So I would strongly advise anybody who's dealing with anything to be your own advocate. I will research all of the drugs that are out there, what would best fit me in my position that I'm in today, and then bring that to the doctor. And if the doctor will say, thankfully I have a really good doctor, but I know there's some doctors out there that won't go the extra step for you. I have doctors out there will say, no, that's not good. Oh, I don't even do that one. Specifically now, I can't remember the name of the drug, but my husband was at a conference a couple weeks ago. And because he works with these different reps and stuff that sell in special diseases and rare diseases, They mentioned a drug. I can get the name of the drug when we're done. And I brought it to my doctor's attention. This is a good example of why you have to be your own advocate. I brought it to her attention, and she said, "Yes, I've heard of the drug, but it's completely impossible to get." And I said, "Well, I said, well, actually, they just released this other side of it on the FDA, and they changed the insurance side of it, and now you're able to get it, and it's 100% free, like with a paid deductible card, that I can get this drug. And this drug is supposed to be like, the miracle drug.
Mm.
And I'm hoping it's my golden ticket because I've been waiting for that for 2 years. And the other part of it, you really have to be patient. All of these drugs they give you, 6 months, they tell you 4 to 6 months to see if this drug is even working. It's so difficult, so frustrating to be able to have to wait this time. And I asked my rheumatologist, well, when am I supposed to know I'm feeling better? Because I still don't feel better. And she's like, really? Honestly, you'll have just a little bit more energy, a little bit more clarity. And so there's days of that. And it's like a mental roller coaster because I do have days of that. And I'm like scared to even go, oh my gosh, I'm in the upswing. And then tomorrow I wake up and bam, it's like I get hit by a train because there's no consistency in the disease whatsoever.
This is I love that you're sharing this, because this is just how many people feel alone, or how many people feel crazy when one day they feel good in the upswing and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing well, and then the next day you're back down and out. And to know that, one, you're not alone, two, what you're going through is 100% real. Like these emotions and these feelings are real. I think you said it in the beginning, sometimes as moms we just push it down and we say we're okay, we're just tired, we're just, we just keep running on E.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, with those of you who are living with autoimmune disease, you're not just running on E, you have all of these real symptoms that you're struggling with. And I just keep going back to the mental health aspect of this. Like, this is such mentally draining. Just listening to your story, I'm like, oh my gosh, my heart breaks, because it's like life and mom and like all of that stuff is hard to begin with, to
Mhm.
start with. To add this on top of it, you have to take care of yourself. Like, this is literally my slogan, is you have to take care of yourself first. And to every mom who's living with an autoimmune disease, like, this is 10 times more important for you to do that, because your mental health, in order to get through this, has to be like priority.
Mhm.
I just can't, it's so um so how do you navigate? So now you've gone through now understanding what your body has, like, so we started with symptoms, and you now understand what is going on in your body. You're using Western medicine and your own holistic practices with a goal of only living naturally, coming off of these meds, getting your body under
Mhm.
control. How do you navigate? What are some things that you do daily, weekly, monthly, to navigate these challenges, and still show up for yourself, still show up for your family, still try and be present in life, because your kids are growing so fast. What are some things that you do to navigate these challenges?
Well, the first thing I forgot to mention in the beginning, I did a whole clean out. When I say clean out, I call it delete, taking the trash out of the toxic friends. I completely removed any toxicity in my life. And those people that would judge me, they had no space for me. I have zero energy to put out, let alone did I have zero energy for the negativity. And 100% not a people pleaser anymore. I do not give a shit what people think. And
Cheers. I love it. That's my favorite
and then
statement.
it's just the biggest thing, and it's such a blessing, and it was such a weight lifted off my shoulders to completely remove those people. And if the people that are in my life can't understand that I have to cancel on them, they don't deserve, they're not in my life anymore. I'm like, I don't care about you. We're done. My energy goes to my family. I will show up for my family, and they know if I can't. My kids are super sweet. I 100% am completely transparent with my children, my husband, of course, but my children as well, because it is important for them to understand what I am going through. And God forbid either one of them get it. And they say it's not genetic, but I feel like there's definitely some genetics in it. So, and the really scary part is I have a daughter, and 4 out of 5 women, 80% of women have autoimmunity,
Oh my
which blows my
God.
mind. And and the more research that I've done, I've noticed it with hormones, and because women take on so much and just put it on their plate, and they just like they just suppress, and they handle everything because that's what us super moms do. I call myself a super mom.
Yeah.
That's what my husband does. He goes, when I'm gone, you're like super mom. You just get everything done. I'm like, ugh, I don't know how I do it still, but I do. But some of the practices that I put into play to make sure that I can show up for my family every day is I purchased a infrared sauna blanket. And I am religious about doing that 5 days a week. And if I have to do seven, I do seven. It is a lot sometimes. I wake up in the morning and I think about how my day is. Actually, that's one thing. And what I have put into practice, even before I was diagnosed, is I have a very strict night routine and a very strict morning routine for all of us in my house. And because of these steps, I'm able to, I say it like, I start off in the morning with a full gas tank. And and I wake up really early. I say by 8 o'clock, I'm already up for 4 hours. I'm on half a tank of gas. And so they understand, and I explain to them, look, today's a good day, today's not a good day, or today could be a good day, and today my day can turn mid-afternoon and I could take a dump in how I feel. And it's extreme nausea. When I feel bad, it's nausea, tired, it's just all of it. So I do that, and I just plan everything. So I'm a big planner. Like I already know what my day will look like tomorrow. And this week coming up is a super busy week, so I have to completely plan for that. I have to not go like lo and behold, this week my daughter is super busy with all her stuff with dance and stuff, and my son with baseball. So I have to tell my son I can't go to 2 year games. Kills me on the inside, but he's so sweet about it. He understands. So I have to say no to things, which is really hard to do. Like I said, for my friends, I don't really care, but for my family, I do, and it's heartbreaking because I'm the mom that doesn't want to miss anything. I don't. Did I miss? I can't remember exactly what you asked me.
Oh, no, this is awesome. And I'm jotting these down because what I want to do is I'm gonna put in a list that we can have. And honestly, these are things that any mom in this group should be implementing, regardless of if you have an autoimmune.
Yeah.
These are things that literally will help us function better. And when we take care of ourselves and we feel better, we're able to show up better for our family. But I love removing toxic friends. I am a recovering people pleaser. This is something that Jamie and I hit off and connected on 2 years ago as I was transitioning from somebody who let everybody else's thoughts and feelings, or what I thought their feelings or thoughts were about decisions I was making in my life, hold me back from making decisions in my life that I actually wanted to make.
Hmm.
And so as Jimmy and I rekindled and restored our marriage, I was concerned about what other people would think. These were things that as I started to work on myself, I realized it is me and my team. My team is me, him, and my two kids. And
Hmm.
nobody else matters. Nobody's thoughts, opinions, they can't, because they're holding me back from living. And so I love removing toxic friends, removing people pleasing, being honest with your family. That's something that I say all the time, our kids, and there's a way to do it, but being honest with them about being human, about being like, we're not teaching them that's how kids learn to run
Hmm.
on E, is by just go, 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 and not being honest and saying, hey, I don't have it today. I can't, or I'm under the weather. I'm not feeling good. I say to my kids all the time, I think I'm just tired. I think I need to go lay down. Um, Removing myself and just saying, like, I'm just not feeling it today, being honest with my kids and not feeling like you can be super mom, but your kids can also know that you're human. We get it
Hmm.
done, but we can also tell them when we're struggling or when we can't show up or when we can't do something. Strict evening and morning routines, that is huge. The way that you end your day and the way that you start your day truly does have an impact on like how the day is going to go.
Hmm.
Um, and I believe that for everybody. Checklists, my kids thrive on checklists and
Hmm.
things to do to just kind of keep our morning rolling. Being a planner, saying no to things. I am interested in the sauna blanket. So will you share the link to, or what sauna blanket you use, kind of like what your routine is, and the benefits of it for us?
Yeah, so I use a blanket purchased by the brand called Higher Dose. It's actually a company generated by all females. So I thought that was kind of
That
cool.
is
And Yeah, so they and then getting in the sauna blanket will help detox your body. Actually, what sold me on it, it's a little funny. You can burn up to 300 to 400 calories in a 30 to 45 minute session,
Yeah.
right? And it's really good for your skin. It helps with your inflammation. It just overall is great. And I can also send you the link. I do take a activated charcoal to help detox my body as well. There's a couple different brands that I've used. And so it is honestly, if I'm even having a stomach issue, I'll get in there and it helps so much with the inflammation even in my stomach. I'll walk out if sometimes I'll go in and my legs are so swollen, and I come out and this all the swelling is completely gone.
That's
It
amazing.
it just feels so good. Like, and it's I lay on my bed and I watch a reality show. I mean, can't go wrong with
For
that.
real.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get super close, and this is, I really wish it wasn't like this, but I do see some comments coming through, so I just wanna read what we have here so that you can, let's see. Okay. Donna says, oh my gosh, light bulbs going off in my head everywhere. Sheena says, 100% be your own advocate. Couldn't agree more. I have psoriatic arthritis and did all my own research before going to my PCP dermatologist rheumatologist. Okay. All right. So she says, can you explain more of your night morning routines if you're comfortable sharing?
Yes. And on the psoriatic arthritis, my husband has that too. So I can
Oh,
even dive into that as well.
sure.
Uh, so my night routine. So I have a calendar on the board in the kitchen, and I have a checklist of chores that it switches every week. So for my kids, like feed the dog, clean the dishes, clean the counters and stuff like that. So they know, and they're children. So I still have to remind them, don't forget your checklist. So they'll do it at night. And at night, I will put out so I eat like gluten-free oats and egg whites in the morning. So I'll put out my pan, I put cinnamon in it. Everything I use to make my breakfast is on the counter. I have all of our vitamins for the entire family all on the counter, individually set aside. I have the kids' plates and then their vitamins and their cups ready to roll for when they wake up in the morning. They prepare their breakfast. If I have time, I do it for them. At night, they also have their lunches done. Everybody has their clothes laid out, even myself. I get up in the morning before I take the kids to school. I work out. So all of my workout gear is out, and that's my night routine. So the morning routine is I get up. Right now I'm reading the Bible. My husband and I are reading it together. So I do like a chapter or two every single morning. Have a maybe a 5 minute meditation just to calm, because when you wake up in the morning your cortisol is at the highest, which is good because there's good cortisol and bad cortisol. So I'm waking up, and I do not look at my phone for an entire hour in the morning, and I drink 16 to 20 ounces of hot water while I'm reading the Bible, and then I go into like a 5 minute meditation, and then I get up and I prepare my breakfast, and then after that is when I'll check my emails and stuff like that. Then I'm getting dressed, brushing my teeth, and getting ready to go. My gym is in my garage, so I go there. The kids have their alarm set, and they wake up, and then they do their thing, and then my day starts rolling because everything's laid out the night before, so everything's run smoothly. And it sometimes depends. Like tomorrow, my daughter has dance. My son has practice. She has a dance performance. So I will be tonight. Before I even came on this call, I asked her, please make sure that, because I want her to be responsible. She's 12. Make sure that all your dance gear and everything is laid out, ready for you to come home and change. I don't, if it needs to be ironed, I don't want to do anything last minute because that just puts more stress on me. So the less stress I can have on my plate and on hers, and to show her what it takes, and how why it's so important to have these checkpoints in list, so she can have a very smooth morning and hopefully use these in her future for both my kids.
I love that. Because you guys have to, like, stress is a trigger for all of these things that are going on in the inflammation in your body. So it's like even
Yes.
more important to be proactive in trying to minimize the stress that, and those are little things like running around in the morning, the chaos of lunch not being ready and the clothes not being,
Hmm.
I can't find my shoes, and those are those are real conversations in my house in the morning. So but that just made like less stress, like that almost has to be a priority.
It is
Not
not almost, it's 100% a priority. And I explain to them, if they're having an argument even with me, and I feel like the argument's getting a little elevated and it's going nowhere, I will say we all need to stop and remove ourselves from the conversation until everyone calms down, and then we can revisit this. Because if I get stressed and it's just in stress and stress, it will literally throw me into a lupus flare. And that lupus flare can last an extremely long time. So getting, and they, they don't quite understand that part yet, because
Right.
it, of course, and I don't want them ever to understand how horrible it feels.
Right.
But and then for the woman or whoever is on about psoriatic arthritis, this is a good one because my husband has that, right? And he's had this for a really long time. That is genetic, and that was given to him. It's usually given to you by your mom's side. So his mom had it as well. And but it's so different than lupus. So it was a big learning curve because he was like, you're just going to get meds and you'll feel fine. With psoriatic arthritis, I'm not sure if she takes anything, but for him, his stage is he's had it really for a really long time and it's really bad. Not like it's controlled now, but it wasn't controlled when we first met. He's on a immunosuppressant as well, but he takes that shot and his pain goes away like that immediately. And for me, for lupus, the pain never goes away. Like I just have to learn to live with it. I'll always have the pain there. I don't get my energy back. I'm not going to ever live a life he lives. And so it was a learning curve for him to understand that, where I literally said, I made this appointment and you're going to my next doctor's appointment with me because I want her to explain to you what I am going through, because I don't think you quite can wrap your head around it. And it's a lot. It's a lot to digest when you're suffering with your own autoimmune disease and you think, oh, it's just the same, she'll feel better. And it's not like that at all. And it's hard because this autoimmune, like most, unless there's a visible rash, or with psoriatic arthritis, you get the flakiness on your skin. It's invisible to the disease. People look at me and they're like, "You're fine." And as a mom, really, the hardest thing is helping out at schools. And I've had to say no. Like I've had my son's um, he's in his first year of high school and he's on baseball, and they wanted to put me on the baseball committee, and normally I would be jumping into that, and had to say, I'm sorry, I can't commit to that. So not making the commitments for now in my life that I know that will put me into a stress state is super important. And I do feel a little bad, but mostly not, to be honest, because my son knows where I'm coming from. And like I said, I don't care if that mom has an opinion on me, because when she does see me, and I've gone to the baseball field this season, and I've had two moms talk to me and kind of like, well, why aren't you helping? You're a stay-at-home mom. How come you can't do it? So then I had to break it all down to them, and they felt like crap. And they're like, oh my God, I foot in mouth. I'm so sorry. And I said, yeah, like you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, because I do take care of myself and I look fine, but it doesn't mean I am fine.
Right. Um, Somebody asked, what is the shot that your husband takes?
He just changed it. I'll have to get you the name of it.
Okay. Yep.
He's been on like three other ones, but eventually your body gets used to it and then you'll have to change to a different one.
Oh,
He's on it's actually it's yeah, it's been a lot. He's on, I want to say it's every 2 weeks and it's two shots, but I don't know that. Let me see. Hold on one second. Oh no. I'm in his office right now, but it's not in here.
um,
I could get the name and I'll definitely send it to you. And whoever that is more than welcome to send me any questions they have on it too.
yeah, for sure. Okay, so Sheena's the one who has that, and she said she's on her third med now, Skyrizi.
Rizzy is the name of the med.
Yeah, she says I'm not in status quo yet, unfortunately, and still have flares. Hope at one point I'm in your hubby zone.
What was she on before that?
I I'm not sure. Hopefully she will comment and tell us what she was on. And then Tracy asked, I'm asking because my arthritis is bad and I can't find anything that works.
Okay, so is she seeing a rheumatologist?
Tracy, let us know if you what you're
So
currently what you're currently
what happens is that when your arthritis gets really bad like mine, when I got sick, it threw me in a really bad lupus flare, and my arthritis was so bad it hurt to walk. My feet hurt. The body pain is unreal. I can't even describe it unless if you have it, then you know what I mean. So unfortunately, it's steroids I have to put you on to bring down the inflammation. And they did put me on a high dose of steroids. and it wasn't helping. And so I removed it. And that's when I started talking. That's when I'm going to see her in a couple of weeks, and she's going to tell me about this drug. And I'm going to send it to you, Jessica, or I can place it in the group,
Yeah.
because this drug that they're talking about, that my husband and his coworker were talking about, is supposed to take in replacement of any steroids. So
Okay.
you won't need steroids anymore, to help all the inflammation, help any depression, to help all of that stuff. So hopefully, this is great that this has all been passed, and insurance, they're working with insurance companies, and you get that copay card. You don't have to pay for it.
Okay. So, let's see here. All right. So Sheena said she was on, and I'm going to butcher these names, methotrexate and
Okay.
Humira.
Oh, Humarin,
Yeah.
H-U-M, Humarin.
And then Tracy said, yes, and she's had allergic reactions to most. She was on that Humira also, but it stopped working and nothing else seems to help.
For her arthritis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I will ask what he's on. Has she ever done steroids? Is supposed to be very temporary. They do that to bring down the inflammation at an immediate state, because the pain is unbelievably bad. So it would, I don't know how long she's been working with a rheumatologist, but I would definitely, offline. So not everybody needs to be bothered with this if they don't want to. I can send her some stuff that has worked for my husband, and also kind of give her tips, because you have to really, really, really strongly, I'm telling you, you have to be your own advocate, and you have to dive into these meds and see what's out there and bring it to their attention, because unfortunately the doctors don't go,
Right.
hey, we have this to try, you can try this. They don't do it.
Right.
And even blood work, I'm like demanding, I want this blood work, and sometimes my rheumatologist will go, I can't run that, or she'll say, let me check to see if I can run it, because there's certain things they can't run because it's out of like their realm, like hormone stuff. I'm not going to have her run. So I do see a functional medicine doctor as well that is able to run anything in under the sun I want to have run.
So I love that you touched on being your own advocate and really like trust in yourself, like find your voice, allow yourself to question. I think sometimes, like I'm finding, even now I'm 36, my kids are 12 and 9, and just now over the last year or two, since I started working on myself, have I been able to go in and like question things and say, well, like what is this for, why are we doing this, or why, like when it comes to the vaccines, like explain to me what is this for. And like I want to know, for 34 years before that, and for the 12 years that I had kids, like I would just blindly be like, oh, like they don't say anything. I've had questions about Deegan numerous times, starting from when he was little, and I noticed that he had food allergies, milk allergies, and they thought I was crazy, and I was like, okay, maybe I am crazy. Now I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm so upset with myself that I didn't self-advocate more, that I didn't trust in myself and my instincts as a mom, and as, somebody who's like, wait a second, I'm with these kids all the time. You're with yourself all the time. You know what you're like. Advocate for yourself. It's so incredibly important. How important do you think your own self-advocacy has been in this journey?
Um, don't be mad at yourself, first of all, because I think it's just was a way of life for so long. We were just brought up to you just don't question it. Like the doctors have all of these things that they give us, the children, and we just think that's what they're supposed to do. So it really was in the pandemic, when the pandemic happened and it was the COVID shot that everyone was to get. I was 100% no way, no, I'm not getting it. My kids did not get it, and I didn't care. And I got a lot of slack for that. My husband unfortunately had to get it, or he was going to get fired from his job. So I'm sorry. You said what was
Yeah,
your question again?
yeah. So, well, I want to touch on that too, but so just how important do you think, like, what how important do you think being your own self-advocate has been in your journey to get to where you are now? And how important do you think it is for the people who are watching or who are going to watch this, who are struggling right now, who don't feel like they're making any progress? How important do you think it is for them to find their voice and stand up and really advocate for them?
Thank you for repeating that. Sorry about that. That's part of lupus. I do forget a lot. It's 100% so important, and I'll give you a couple examples why it's important. When I first started off, she started me on a couple different drugs, and then they weren't working. So I went online myself and did some more research, and then I asked, because my husband's in the field, I had asked him to ask some of his reps who would sell the drug and ask their opinions on it. So I would bring the drugs to her. I literally email my rheumatologist doctor. I'm like, hey, these are the pains I'm having. This is what I suggest. And then she would say yay or nay. And if she said no, yes or no, why is it good and why is it not good? So I'm asking her to explain to me
Mm.
yes or no and give me the explanation as to why. And if she can't, that's a red flag. You need to get another doctor. So go with your gut instinct. Your gut instinct is so important. It never lies to you. It is so important that you listen to your gut instinct. I can't even express that more. So nobody is going to look out for you more than yourself. And if you don't look out for yourself, who's going to take care of you? And I'm all about longevity. I want to be a grandma one day. And if I have a poor quality of life today, I can only imagine where it's going to be at in the future. It's exhausting. And for people that are going through it, there are so many times that I want to throw in the towel, that I have mental breakdowns. I am by means not perfect. I will have moments where I cry and have a little pity party. And then I pick myself back up and say, literally, like, okay, well, God gave this to me for a reason.
Mhm.
And I'm here to be strong and help others advocate for themselves. And I'm usually pretty much of an introvert, believe it or not. Believe it or not, Jessica, because she knows me a little bit. But what I've done now is I've reached out online. Like, so I listen to so many different podcasts, and on my Instagram page, I'll be sharing, I have all of my favorite podcasts on there. I will just type in lupus, or I'll type in rheumatoid arthritis, or whatever topic I want to search. I will type that. Usually they're doctors that I listen to. And then I will, if I really like it, I find that doctor on their social media platform, and then I'll start asking questions. I will privately message them, and sometimes they get back to me, and sometimes they don't. You know what's to lose? Either they
100%.
ignore me or they don't. So I've gotten great feedback from that as well, and just diving into certain things. But yeah, the biggest thing is just research on what drugs are out there on the market. And if, like, the woman that's on the three different and now on Skyrizi, if that's not working and you're not feeling better, then like the doctor won't come to you and say, let's just try this. They'll wait. And if you're not seeing that doctor for a whole another month and you still feel like crap and you've been on this for 2 months, then say to them, I am not okay. My stomach is, I'm nauseous. I have a headache. I have no energy. Something is not right. Please give me something else. And they will give you something else. They will, but you have to tell them. They won't just outright say, hey, let's try this, unless you're in their face in their office.
Right, right. You have to be like the squeaky wheel. And I keep thinking, like, I think sometimes we think we're like bothering them, but they work for us. Like it's right.
Yes.
It's our job to be like in their, hey, no, like I need to be a priority to you because you're not going to be a priority to them when they're dealing with how many other people. You have to be in their face. You have to
Yes.
be. And
And
I think
yes, you're right. They
right.
are working for us.
Yes, yes. And that's what I'm like, wait a second. By you bringing, and you, like you said, you are going to be you're the one who has to take care of you. Like nobody's going to advocate for you like you're going to advocate for yourself. And so get comfortable being uncomfortable, reaching out to them. I love that you email them like, hey, I need answers, yes or no, and why either way, so you can learn and grow because this is information that's going to ultimately help your quality of life. Okay. Well, I'm not going to take much more of your time, but so I love that you inspire me in your daily practices of your physical health and the way that you eat and the way that you move your body. And that is so incredibly important, right? But to somebody who's living with autoimmune diseases, who maybe isn't moving their body as much, or maybe who is eating processed foods, how do you feel like that is affecting their quality of life? What is the importance of truly putting health and fitness and movement and water and all of those things to help? We know that it's not going to, because you do those things and you still experience these symptoms, but do you feel like they would be worse if you weren't?
Oh, 100%. They would be a lot worse. Well, first of all, water is super important. When you're dehydrated, you do not drink your water, especially if you have arthritis. and you're dehydrated, it affects your joints that much greater. So I drink at least 80 to 100 ounces. Preferably, I would like to do a gallon a day, but it's not always the case. Eating processed food, if you look on the back of that package and see all that crap they're putting in there, and you got to think about it, here in the States, it's so different than in Europe. They don't have the same regulations. And you got to question, why don't they have the same regulations, and all the chemicals that are in the foods and stuff like that? You're putting that and you're ingesting that into your body. Our life today is so different than it was 10, 20 years ago, and the things that they're making our foods with. So it is so important for you to pay attention to what you're putting in your body. And if, let's just say, you're eating horrible and it's not working out for you and you're still feeling sick, I don't like my number one thing would be, don't try to take it all on at once. Remove one thing at a time. Let's just say you like your 12 o'clock PM chip snack. Let's remove that snack and replace it with something different, like a healthy snack of vegetables, like carrots with hummus or whatever it may be, or apple with peanut butter, or something that's going to quench that um, sweet tooth or salty tooth that you may have at that moment. So take out dairy. Dairy and gluten is extremely inflammatory for, especially for people with autoimmune disease, and it can be for just anybody in general. So I would do small little steps. I've also in my house have been in the process for the last 2 years. I've gone non-toxic with laundry detergent. There's studies out there that show perfumes, colognes, and what that does to women's hormones and how it affects us negatively. So I've removed my perfumes, and I'm finding there's so much on the market today. I'm finding like just clean lines of like perfumes, makeup. You're putting lipstick on that's toxic, and your lipsticks and and like it's going into your mouth. And mascara, what they use in mascara, I can't remember the name of it right now off the top of my head, but there's a lot of toxins in mascara. So I would start off small. Like I started off going, I'll just do a non-toxic mascara and stuff like that. Like not all of my stuff is non-toxic. It's extremely expensive to do. So did little starts like that. But drinking, if you're in a state where you're so sick, take out alcohol immediately. No sodas or anything like that. Try to just drink water. I know it's really hard. I know it's so much easier said than done for a lot of people. And take out gluten. It's hard, but it's not as hard as it was even 2 years ago. There's so many options that are out there now. I dove into the non-gluten because of my husband, and then when I got it, I was never really a gluten person anyways, but when I got it, my whole family now is. I'm not Hitler because my kids aren't affected by it, but I cook and I purchase stuff that are gluten free. So that's some of the stuff that I do that I would recommend, and just keeping that really calm lifestyle. Notice your triggers, notice your stressors that are in your life. And it doesn't matter if it's family, if your mom calls and you get anxiety, or whoever is calling that anxiety in your stomach, is probably not a good idea to talk to that person. Maybe it should be just removed. You remove it, and if the symptoms are still there, whether it be a person, whether it be food, whether it be drinks, then introduce that back in, but at least give it 2 weeks before you introduce something back in. But introduce it back in slowly to see what your triggers are, because my triggers could be something completely different than your triggers. And right now, I'm still trying to figure out the GI issues. I am unfortunately can only eat maybe 6 foods today, and it's been extremely difficult. I can't even go out to eat with my family because with lupus specifically, garlic is a huge inflammatory food for us, and it'll make you really, really sick. So when you go to a restaurant, most restaurants cook with garlic. So I'm super scared. I won't even do it, but we do other things to compromise for it. My kids know, which they all eat healthy and they love it. Raising athletes, so they understand that it all starts in the kitchen anyways.
I love this. Because again, these are all things that are good. I love that we're talking to the people who really need this, but I love that this is for every single person in this group, because these are things that we can do to help our quality of lives, our like learning our stressors. Listen to your body. That's one of the greatest things that I think that we can take away from this is truly taking the time, because we are constant in this like go, go, go state, that how often do we allow ourselves to listen to our bodies? How do we feel around people? How do we feel? Like I was thinking the other day, I was watching a show on TV and my body was literally getting like anxious. And I'm like, why do
Mm-hmm.
you watch shows that cause you stress? Like I literally, like my heart was racing and I'm like, I never thought of this before. Like
Mm-hmm.
if that's causing you stress because your body doesn't know the difference between you watching TV and it actually happening to you, this is, we're elevating the stress level in our life. And so it's like the things you listen to, what you see, the people around you, listen to how your body is reacting in those situations, and let's start to remove them.
Mm-hmm.
Like understand them, understand why are they, this is one of the biggest things that I teach in 90 Day U-Turn is why are they triggers for you? What does it stem from? If we process where those triggers are coming from, will they always be triggers? Like these are things that we can learn about ourselves. And the fact that it is directly correlated to your autoimmune disease and the way that you can treat it is incredible. When we understand that, you are so much farther ahead than somebody who's suffering in silence, suffering by themselves, who doesn't know, who's just waiting for the doctor to give them another med to try to see if it works. It's like we do control what you can control, right? There's things that are completely out of your control, but the food you're putting in your body, drinking your water, the triggers that are around you, like allowing ourselves to truly dive into taking care of ourselves and controlling the things that we can is incredible. I love
Mm-hmm.
all of these things that you said. I jotted them all down.
Can
Um,
I say
and
one more thing I
yeah,
forgot to mention? I know you were talking about movement for your body when you're in so much pain. Movement is so important. I wake up and I feel like I can go beast mode in that gym and lift like I lifted before I was diagnosed. And some days I wake up and I'm in so much pain, but you have to move your body. If you do not move your body will get more sore, more stiff. It won't flow. You sit stagnant. Inflammation really starts to kick in. So I will walk. I will do a nice breezy walk, maybe 4 miles, on my treadmill because the sun's coming out and I can't be in the sun. It's been super hard. So yes, you have to move your body and go into yoga class, Pilates, whatever it is. It's so important. And it's also important too, because I am a stay-at-home mom and other mamas out there that are stay-at-home. When you're dealing with all these things, it's also important to do a class that will benefit your body, and then to meet just other moms because you're there usually probably during the day, to meet other people, to have that connection just will help you mentally. That's actually been my biggest thing is when I've noticed when I feel so bad, I don't want to leave the house, like I feel horrible. But if I go out and I'm at my son's baseball game and I'm kind of mingling with the moms, because my husband was gone traveling all last week, so I was doing it all myself. But when I was talking to the moms, I was telling my husband this morning, I'm like, I had like I felt great. Like I felt like it was that connection. I'm drawing on the name right now, blanking on the name. Not cortisol, but oxytocin. So when oxytocin hits in and you have that connection, it's like a happy pill, a natural happy pill. And so that will boost your mood and make you feel better, bring down the inflammation on your body and in your brain, help with all that depression.
I love that you just brought this up because yes, like doing things that bring you joy because that naturally will I say this a lot, like what are you putting on your calendar that brings you joy? And you're right, connection is a huge
Hmm.
piece, even for introverts, even for, people like just connecting and feeling that joy. I love that. Thank you so much for this.
Oh my
This
God,
has
you're
been
welcome.
not just for the autoimmune moms in here, but like I am taking so much away from this. Because let's be honest, we could all use a little less stress in our life, and we don't even like the toll that stress takes on our bodies, on our mental health, on our relationships, on our connection with our kid. Like it negatively impacts every area of our life, and the fact that learning to control it, learning to lessen it, can have an impact on your autoimmune disease is incredible. Um, you mentioned that you are starting to share this information on a platform. Could you tell us where they could go to follow you to connect to this, connect with you and be able to follow this, all of this great information that you're sharing?
Absolutely. You can find me on Instagram, autoimmune_Jamie, and Jamie is Jamee. And on Facebook, it's Jamie Thompson. Please feel free, anybody. I am a totally open book. I'd love to share. I'd love to help in any way I can. So whoever would love to reach out to me if you have any questions, even in any autoimmune platform, there's a lot because I talk to so many people about it, Hashimoto's, all of that stuff. Feel free to ask me any questions. And if I can't answer it right away, I will find the answer for you.
Awesome. Thank you again for doing this.
You're
This was
welcome.
so fun.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And I am going to, as long as you're okay with it, as soon as this is done, it'll process and I'll be able to get the link. I'm going to put it on YouTube with your permission,
Yeah,
and
of
then I will
course.
think we'll be able to share it with anybody who, wants to watch it. I'll put it in the group so that people who missed it will be able to rewatch it. And just thank you again.
Thank
Enjoy the,
you.
thank you.
You too. Bye.